As a society, we need to admit that life and being alive are two separate things. One is innate, we all exist, but it doesn't feed our ego. There's nothing to brag about existing, as we all are existing, simply put. And the other is being alive. The other is you see people who are full of life and joy and emotion and are doing the things that they want to do, and they have money and they're financially secure, spiritually secure. They're just secure, and they feel the comfortability to actually live. And anybody that has an honest thought about the situation, when you think about it in your head and you're being intellectually honest, we all know there is a difference between being alive and living. And it's becoming more and more obvious in today's society that there is a group of people who get to live, and there's a group of people who work to survive. And as things get tighter, more and more people will come to this conclusion. But when it comes to living, the opposite, the other one of outside of just existing, actually living. Now that is something that is created and it is cultivated through a way of life. And that's really the issue in today's society. It's the shadows. It is, like, for example, back in the day, when you had, for example, segregation, that's like a hard line. Everybody saw, white water fountain only, colored water fountain only. Like, it was a very visible hard line. It was etched in stone. It was easy to identify, and it was easy to fight, right? But nowadays it's a little different, because there is no law saying you can't live. You're not allowed to reach up and have comfortability and live life, right? There's no like hard line for that. The way people are stuck now is more so a blinded by chaos. The internet is so much data that unless you have someone to help guide you, unless you have somebody in your life that has helped guide you already and is helping you, then you are hopeless, absolutely hopeless, to sift through everything and find your way to build an actual life and cultivate an actual life. Because there's just so much data flying around. If you listen to everybody, you're going nowhere, because you're doing so many conflicting things. But if you listen to one person and you're so narrow-minded, and you may get stuck, right? You see how that works? It's much less a hard line, you're not allowed here, and much more here is a labyrinth you must find your way through. But there's also a bunch of fake walls and fake paths, and good luck. That's how they get us now. It's illegal to discriminate, but it's not illegal to just completely outmaneuver the law and in a way where you make it fundamentally impossible for them to enter. That is the way that that is the way the modern world is headed. And part of the way that they're keeping us out, or in other words, keeping us in the state of work, survive, and not actually live. For a lot of us, we have been convinced that it's not what we want, and we have been convinced that life is not something you cultivate, it's something that just happens over time. And that is a big issue. It's caused a lot of young people to not realize that they are selling their lives. I didn't realize I was selling my future the whole time I was just sitting there. That I was telling myself that the whole time I was identifying with my ego and identifying with my safety and identifying with my comfortability. All that time was wasted when I could have been doing what I'm doing now. I had let the world convince me that being alive just meant that one day I'll be an adult and living. But it never told me all the things I needed to do in order to make it happen, because life is a process, not just simply a length of time. And at the end of the day, that's why our society is more so about who you know and less about what you know. Our society is ran by secret societies, so to speak. That word has such a conspiratorial feeling to it that I almost don't want to use it. But I'm just really, all that means is you have people who have agreed to work together to gain power. That's what it means. And they share knowledge and they pass it down. So they pass it down to who they want, which is who they know. That's how it works. I love y'all.